Wasn't the transition seamless? Well, I hope so, because we're not even close to being done yet. $15K, okay. Yes, okay. Sweet. And yeah, I gotta go back and get some money off my retainer. There we go. Okay. Oh, I got mail. Hey. More muns. Sweet. Okay. Okay, now. I gotta turn up my audio back up for this. The 51 will have to work. Abyssos, the fifth circle. Let's go! I can't imagine the queue times would be horribly bad, but they'll probably be annoying enough for me. Decent, the whole bloody thing. Probably while I'm waiting for the key to pop, I can go ahead and actually go do some of my shared fate stuff. Yeah, we'll go do Theft there a little bit. I'm a little late to the party. I haven't been doing my shared fate stuff as much as I should have. Shiver and Shock, two species of giant snail hailing from the Far East were released into the wild, and have been reproducing at frightening speed. Dispatch the creatures and restore the ecosystem to its natural order. Sounds like much of the US. A forlorn maiden. No complaints about that. There we go. Whew. The world unsundered, Abyssos, the fifth circle. Mythic creation, proto-carbuncle. We have a Bahamut ultimate clearer. I appreciate being a Reaper. Let's go past it. Oh. I immediately don't like how that's going to be in Savage. Searing Ray, okay, Crunch. acidic steak. What? Is this guy insane? Oh, wow. Toxic crunch again. Venom Squall. This party honestly is good. I'm actually able to get my full power Arcane Circle off. Oh my goodness. Ah. Topaz cluster. So I got this one. Oh, I see. So that one's gonna go off first. I still love for LV3. Youch! I was gonna say use the cast raises off. First circle completed. I was wondering where they went. Duty completes. Stoic hero nod. Okay. Wow, we got a lot out of this. Dang, okay. I'll probably just run this again in the intervening time. I should go. Oh. So this is why research is conducted on creations imbued with poisons and venoms. Ericthonius and I conveyed not far from here. It seems for our foes finding it more difficult to surprise us. Fortunately for you, since they appear particularly keen to see you dispatched as quickly as possible. Even alone, you are a force to be reckoned with. Part of me is glad you emerged victorious, that I might observe you further. Were the circumstances different, I might thank you for keeping my son alive for this long. But I believe we can forego introductions, unless I've misread you. There he is. I'm all too familiar, Paragon. A charming appellation, but I'm afraid I hold no such position. No, I am La Habrea, of Convocation of 14. If you truly are who you claim to be, then answer this question. That can wait. What is this? Now, this is curious. The trap I wove at your feet reacts to ether, but you remain unaffected. Such thin ether and in an unfamiliar composition besides. It is no matter, I suppose. A more direct approach will beget the same results. I would advise you to think carefully before deciding your next action. Strike me down, Ericthonius' wish shall remain unfulfilled. Never again shall he meet Athena. Mother? You would dare hide behind her name? Listen well, Ericthonius. We are of the same mind concerning your mother. You have your allies for protection. So what harm is there in hearing me out? Arcthonius, wait. There's a question I must needs ask first. If you truly are La Habrea, why speak such blatant lies? Bitter in defeat, are we? Say my name. A simple request. Themis, was it? A trifle soon forgotten, as are you. I have my answer. The La Habrea that I knew took pride in convocation and would never suffer its denigration. You sully his station with this farce. Themis, what are you saying? La Habrea and I hardly saw eye to eye, but I know his voice when I hear it. Indeed, he makes a passing fine imitation in appearance and manner. However, the La Habrea would never call me by the name Themis. What trouble have you gotten yourself into, Elidibus? Imposter, you have no right to claim that form, that mask. What? Who? Twas a mask that sickened me to wear. The mask of La Habrea, a man who values his position above all, who would murder his own wife in pursuit of duty. Yet you would assume my name and wield powers that are mine by rights. Any worth you may have hinges on that which you so despise. Such trite provocations. I will not be goaded into finishing this ere my work is done. Erchthonius, listen well. I am Hephaestus, and it is I whom you shall call father. What in the name of creation? We would do well not to stand idle while our enemy is about. I believe an explanation is in order. Elidibus, let us return to safety so you may provide it. Ah, that sounds more like the La Habrea I know. Before we depart, however, I must offer you an apology. As La Habrea said, I am Elidibus, one of the convocation and emissary of their will. For reasons which do not involve you, it was necessary to hide my identity while investigating this place. Still, that hardly excuses my deception. whatever your name is, you're still famous to me. Such words are comforting, truly. I shall offer an explanation in time, but first, let me assure you, my choices were not born from animosity. In any case, we have pressing matters to attend to. Let us do as La Habrea suggested and return to the gates. We can speak there. Please, help him. Save him. I have an inkling as to who that is. As you are aware by now, I am known as Elidibus, after my dear friend Asylum, and I detected irregularities in Pandemonium. We decided the best course of action would be to hide my station as I conducted my investigation. I'm sure La Habrea as well is eager to find out why I hid who I was, so I shall save that story for later. First, I would like to speak to you, my friend. Although neither Asylum nor I have ever met you in the flesh, you came with his highest recommendation. That alone is enough for me to accept you as an ally without question. That somewhere in the world, a guiding star so similar to himself that somewhere in the world, a guiding star so similar to himself was out there amused as them to no end. There was not a shade of doubt in his heart that you would be a formidable ally. Furthermore, I have heard stories that Mistress Vina, who held the position of Asylum previously, journeyed with a familiar much like yourself. That made the decision to trust you all the easier. She too now dons the white robes of an advisor. If she placed her absolute faith in you, I knew I would be in capable hands. Aware, though, I was of the path you have walked, I had no interest in exposing you. I merely wanted to meet you, to travel by your side for a while. I may know but a small portion of your whole story, but that is enough for me. To believe you would never lead me astray. I want to tell you that. 1923. Yeah, I'll take the crap materials. I see Elidibus has chosen to keep odd company. Such a vexing composition of eagerness. I will be right back real fast. I thought I was missing something. My desk lights. Okay. A keyword's jail. Eric Thonius is resolutely avoiding his father's gaze. I don't know how long it's been since since we last spoke, La Habrea. And truth be told, I had hoped we never would again. But I see now that I was a fool to think I would ever escape your meddling. Just what is that thing that called himself La Habrea? And why is he the spitting image of your younger self? I find it hard to believe you've only just now found out such a being was wreaking havoc in Pandemonium. Do you think matters would simply sort themselves out? I suppose you deserve at least a cursory explanation. I was well aware of the anomalies occurring within the Pandemonium, including the fact that Asylum and Elizabeth had taken it upon themselves to investigate. I saw no reason to insert myself into the situation for a time that was. Imagine my surprise when instead of a formal report from you and yours, I received a communication from one of my keywords stating that research and operations were proceeding as usual. While Hephaestus' deception was almost childish in its simplicity, it became plain to me that your grasp on the situation was slipping. So you knew of its existence from the beginning? I can hardly imagine that you'd suffer another's masquerade as one of the convocation, not without good reason at least. As you well know, the name La Habrea is but a marker of my station. It is not the name I was born with. Hephaestus claimed that for himself. I cannot fault him for it, as he is my other half, in a manner of speaking. He knows all that I know, my equal in every way, yet within his heart is naught but greed, envy, and desire. All the emotions that we are loath to acknowledge within ourselves. If what you say is true, what purpose would such a being serve? He is the product of experimentation gone awry, a reminder of the days when I was yet young and reckless. I thought him sealed away for good, but it seems time has a way of unearthing the shame we bury. I know that all too well. When he spoke of my mother, he looked at you with venom in his eyes, blamed you for her death. Tell me, was he right to do so? His words were but the ramblings of a tortured mind. The hatred and despair he endures has warped his view of the world irreparably. Oh, whoops. I hate my middle finger sometimes. And now that he is awakened, well, I'll go ahead and actually turn this off for a moment. Oh, dang it. Not again. And now that he is awakened, he must be put to rest. If he succeeds in breaching Pandemonium's protective wards, he shall invite disaster into our star. As chief keyword of Pandemonium, it is my duty to decide the proper course of action. As such, I declare that all research shall be summarily abandoned and the facility destroyed. What? You would leave the other warders to their doom? Gotta turn that back on. 'Tis a choice befitting La Habrea. Do you disagree? You speak of duty, and ours is to guide our star and its inhabitants upon the correct course. It is no surprise that you would choose annihilation of Pandemonium if its existence posed even the remotest risk to our people. Yet, as you can see by Ericthonius' response, the decision is somewhat more nuanced than that. Asylum and I grappled with this conundrum for some time, in fact. That's precisely why I chose to involve myself directly. It was the only way I could truly determine the best solution. and you need not trouble yourself with that any further. The chief keyword must prevent the worst from occurring, no matter the cost. Your feelings, Elidibus, are of no consequence. Have you taken a moment to consider another path? No. You've spared nary a thought for aught but yourself and your duty. You have no idea of the trials we've endured, the foes that Thorak has stood against. Thorak, is it? A being of such ether as I have never seen. What are you? He is the guiding star that shall lead us safely through this. Thanks to his stout arm and steadfast courage, we have subdued the mythic creations and returned them to their cells. Speaking of which, I would hear your opinion, Thorak. As outsiders, we are in a unique position to look upon circumstances with our vision unclouded by attachment. It's too soon to give up on saving the others. Agreed. We still know next to nothing about Hephaestus, and I highly doubt Lahabrea has been forthcoming with the truth. But we've managed to regain control of Asphodelos. He must be made to see that there's merit in continuing on this path. I have it. Speak in your official capacity as Elidibus with the emissary. Judge which approach is more sound, and even Lahabrea would be compelled to listen. As Elidibus, I am duty-bound to assess the matter from a position of impartiality. My opinion as Themis can carry no weight. You understand what that means, yes? I do. Even so, you've walked with us all this time. Seeing what we've seen, based on that alone, I trust that you'll find the best way forward. Very well. Then in my capacity as emissary, I shall state my judgment. At present, there are merits both in destroying Pandemonium outright and taking time to rescue its researchers. And neither is yet an impossible task. Therefore, I judge that the most measured choice would be to continue upon our present course. We delve into Abyssos, interring any mythic creatures we encounter along the way. You have yet to witness Thorak's might and Erchthonius' resolve. I would ask that you see our capabilities firsthand, and only then decide if our endeavor is futile. If such is the will of the emissary, then I shall obey. However, if I indeed find your strength to be lacking, I trust there will be no objections to the immediate destruction of Pandemonium. You needn't worry about that. We won't fail. You are bolder than I remember. And you're even more tedious than I remember. Thorak, come find me when you're finished. Erchthonius is understandably frustrated, but if we are to conquer Abyssos, we must go forth with clear heads. Pray lend an ear to his troubles, that their weight might be latent. Sorry, throughout most of that, my middle finger is annoying sometimes with wanting to right click on its own when I don't want it to. Ericthonius. You do have my gratitude. Ill-fit as I am to show it at the moment. Without your words to sway him, La Habrea would have carried out his plan without a second thought. When at first we realized the creations had slipped their bonds, the other keywords did all in their power to restore order, even though they could have chosen escape. They remained to aid their allies. I am certain not a soul among them would wish to see this facility erased from the world, and they don't deserve to be abandoned simply for carrying out their duty. And besides, Hephaestus has secrets yet untold. Secrets that would be buried if Pandemonium were reduced to rubble. I mean, to uncover the truth behind his words, the truth of my mother. While La Habrea was quick to dismiss his claims, I failed to see what Hephaestus would gain by fabricating such a story. All I was told of my mother's death was that she perished in an accident. No one would say more. It was almost as if they feared saying more, in fact. Even if it was not La Habrea that dealt the fatal blow, we've seen with our own eyes how quickly he can condemn others to die. I only wish to know, at last, what befell her. What do you think, Thorak? Does La Habrea have any regard for the lives of others? Or will he carry out his duty with another's blood on his hands? I have no idea what he might be like in this age. This age? Just how long has it been since last you met? Regardless, I'd like you to try and view him as he is now. Another opinion would be much appreciated. But it is plain there is much to consider. Thank you, Thorak. It's easy for me to get carried away by emotion where he's concerned. We should focus on the task at hand, proving to La Habrea that we are capable of saving Pandemonium and its keepers. The most convincing way to do that will be to regain control of Abyssos. Although I am loath to admit it, he would know more about those depths than any of us, and seeing as how we require every advantage we can afford. Thorak, would you speak to him for us? He seems to have a special interest in your capabilities, and may deign to help at your suggestion, if only to see what you can do. I kind of hope that the story between them actually turns out to be like a father-son bonding time. I mean, call me a sucker for simple stories, but this one clicks with me more than it actually should, I think. Ericthonius appears to have a deep trust in you. Elidibus tells me you have much to share. And Elidibus tells me you share some relation to Asylum. Your unusual ether does not mark you as familiar. It is unlike anything I have seen, even among the countless concepts I've observed. To think that I would encounter an existence I could not create by my own hand. Asylum never ceases to surprise. The previous Asylum was much the same. In taking the entirety of the star into consideration, she came to hold dear emotions and people that a more logical mind would have discarded. This made her act in her own self-interest more often than not. Just as you and Elizabeth have conducted yourselves in this matter. The true danger of Aslan's nature is its tendency to infect all those he comes into contact with. Emmett Selk said much the same. Trust that I shall do naught that would violate my duty. And yet you so frivolously invoked your authority as emissary to justify this little excursion. It matters little, however. Only your deeds can speak for you now. You wish no more of Abyssos, I take it? Although I no longer have control over many of its functions, I can still yet sense what creations lie within. The chi keywords reach as far indeed. Well then, what do we have to look forward to? I sense no creations of note. Perhaps they have been made into fodder for experimentation, or perhaps they have been transferred to the deeper circles. Yet Hephaestus would never allow you safe passage. He has left a trial for you to overcome. I speak of Hegemon, keyword of Abyssos, although her presence is stained with marks of corruption, it is unmistakable. I knew her as a woman gifted in magic and blessed with a highly logical mind. While I can sense those qualities within her still, there's something else at work. If I had to hazard a guess, I would say that's because she's already been twisted into a Hemitheos, doubtless against her will. Vark, Themis, we must rescue her from that cruel fate. If we cannot, we can at least seal her away until we find a means to undo the damage. Your allies make you bold, Arcthonius. I very much look forward to seeing how far they carry you. Now they're pouting. Abyssos, the sixth circle unlocked. At any rate, I can go check Garrett Rats at Hand now. Or not, I guess. The world unsundered, Abyssos, the sixth circle. Whoa. Prometheus, Hegemon. I can see how that mechanic's going to be evil here in a moment. I can see how that mechanic's going to be evil here in a moment. Chorus. Prometheus' dark form, which is right light. Okay. Right, from the inside out. Oh. Yeet. Ouch. Uh-oh. Yeah, wow. Transmission. Sure, there's a keyword. Haha. Oh. extending each fun.
fight's probably easily going to be worse than Savage. Oh gosh.
I just now realized that this raid series is basically SCP containment for each raid. And then give it to the sage. Bummer. Is this place darker than I remember? We've won. The keyword is safe and is sealed away and alive this time. La Habre, I can't deny us now. Servant of Violence. Our plan was a success, although I hardly need you to tell me that. Hegemon has been sealed away, and now you have no choice but to admit the merit in our methods. Or was it in our efforts? Yeah. You have the right of it. I am not so petty as to deny the achievements of those I've squabbled with, no matter how strongly we disagree. Moreover, this being, either as thin as retreating mist, unable to wield creation magics, yet so powerful enough to subdue Hemethios, has made this ordeal far more interesting. Then we have leave to continue? As for that, there is one among you whose very presence puts the others at risk. It would be best to proceed without him, for failure would have consequences that reach far beyond Pandemonium. And of whom do you speak? A warder who can't even conduct his duty without aid. In this place, hope alone is not enough to overcome what awaits you. A single misstep will send all to their doom. So long as we each do our parts and look to the allies by our side, even a neophyte can upraise his companions. That's something that Thorak and Themis taught me. While I do not want to express any bias, I am inclined to agree. If my investigation has made anything clear, it is that we are together greater than the sum of our parts. And hope has brought us this far. It drives us to seek the right path and to act before the path lies close to us. Then tell me, what is it you hope for? To see Hephaestus in chains. That's the surest way to prevent further sacrifices. I'm aware that destroying Pandemonium would rid us of him, but the cost is far too great. And I wish to know how he means to resurrect Athena. And there we have it. I must leave this place at once, and do not think to set foot in Pandemonium again. Oh, you must leave this place at once, and do not think to set foot in Pandemonium again. You are capable, that much is plain, yet Hephaestus cannot be suffered to live, and I shall not allow his talk of resurrection to poison mine or anyone else's mind. Life flows in a cycle, this is normal. All souls return to the underworld, and Athena's is no exception. She has likely found a new vessel, and a new journey to embark upon. You cannot be ignorant to the folly of Hephaestus' word. heat to breathe life into a body the soul contained within would not be your mother's. What if our knowledge is imperfect? What if Hephaestus has discovered something that no one else has? He knows all that you do, understands the bitter reality of the world. He wouldn't pursue the impossible. Think, Arachthonios. I have already explained that he is merely my twisted reflection. Is it worth bringing back your mother if it means others are used and discarded like tools? Is it worth it to see her once more? Now, you measure the worth of your colleagues' lives. What was that foolish braying about saving them? Merely a performance to hide your childish devotion to your mother? Please, such barbs will get us nowhere. We should first discuss... You would call me fool? You who murdered your wife in service of your ambition? For the sake of the star, no doubt? I can hear it again, that voice inside my head. I know who to follow. Hephaestus. Father. Mother. Oh, I love you so. This voice will guide me to you. No, listen not. Listen not, Arachthonios. Apologies. You tell me that a calm heart stays the course, but I could never even grasp the rudder. One cutscene into another. Okay. Hephaestus is cunning despite his warped mind. Whatever took hold of Arachthonios, it made short work of his reason. From the moment he laid eyes upon me, I could sense his hatred and rage shimmering below the surface. It was but a matter of time until it spilled forth, and that was when he fell into the spell's embrace. A magic woven with such skill that Arachthonios himself failed to notice until it was too late. If this is the measure of Hephaestus' power, then the other keyboards had little chance to resist it. We saw his work during an encounter with Hesperos. Doubtless Hephaestus' magic fed his admiration and envy until there was room for naught else but in his heart. And there was something else besides. Did you not feel the presence of another? As I thought, someone was trying to warn Arachthonios, but whom? Could it have been one of the keywords? Alas, their warning arrived too late. I had already provoked Arachthonios past the point of no return. I bear the burden of this failure. In my stubbornness I could but scorn the boy, and Hephaestus knew it. Now I dread to think of the ordeal that awaits him due to my rashness. There's time yet to save him. We can easily regain control of Abyssos, giving us a firm foothold from which to brave Pandemonium's lowest level. The enemy is within reach. Just as with Hesperos, Arachthonios is in danger of being consumed by Hephaestus' spell. However, I have faith that he will not easily lose sight of himself. The way forward is clear, La Habrea. Pray tell us all you know of what we shall find beyond the Abyss. I can only assume one more keyword lies in wait. The deepest level of Pandemonium is called Tartaros. In your passage shall be challenged not only by a keyword. Hephaestus has laid traps in every corner of its halls. You have no hope of threading far past the threshold. That, I expect, is where Thorax shall shine. His dissolute ether shall allow him to slip through the traps unimpeded. He saw it when Hephaestus had no effect, and doubtless even he has yet to devise a countermeasure. Then time is of the essence. Hephaestus is already well aware that you can match a keyword in battle. He will not stand idle while you stroll past his other defenses at your leisure. Agreed. However, clarity will be indispensable in our success, and I'm afraid I must insist upon it ere we depart. We have yet to discern to what end Hephaestus would use Erchthonius. If you know, I would ask that you enlighten us. And then there's the matter of Athena. Why do you so fiercely rebuke Erchthonius' feelings for his mother? While I understand the very thought of resurrecting the dead is anathema, you act as if grief over her passing should be equally so. How are we to grapple that which plagues us? How are we to grapple with what plagues our friend and drives our foe if you refuse to acknowledge it? I do acknowledge it. I wish only to spare those that feel its still greater pain. Did you mean to protect Erchthonius with your silence? How dare you? No, you are right. The blame for Erchthonius' fate rests squarely on my shoulders. Very well, I shall lay bare the truth, but only after the foe before us has been laid low. The remaining keyword is Agdistis. She has served in Pandemonium since its inception, and her affinity for magics is peerless even among the keywords. Hephaestus knows that losing her would mean the end of his experiments. He has hidden her in a space unreachable by conventional means. But your presence makes mockery of such barriers. The scarcity of your ether means it will be trivial to send you directly to Agdistis. We shall approach as closely as caution will allow. We know where the battle will commence, so I do not anticipate difficulty in detecting your presence. From afar, I shall do my best to provide you with ground on which to fight, and phantom allies to aid you. As for the interments, I have yet to think of a foolproof method. Interment shall not be necessary. From here, I can sense Agdistis' essence, but it is scarcely recognizable. Hephaestus was more ambitious with her than he was with Hegemon. She has been transfigured such that barely a scantling of herself remains. We can but take comfort in what a mercy of the underworld will be to her. So we're just straight up. Episodes the Seventh Circle, now accessible. So we're just straight up killing this woman. Okay. The Seventh Circle. Okay. Now can I go through Rats at Hand and look at the raid gear? Pandemonium Relic Exchange, there it is. Abyssos Exchange for Reaper. Item comparison. So I should be fine otherwise then, right? What's that? Oh, Hyperion. Okay. It's been an hour and we're only halfway through. Jeez. Oh yeah, I can actually start using this gun. If I could actually jump on top of it first try. This is my raid table. It's a very good raid table. I have the tea, I have my food. It's a good raid table. And I sit on the raid table. Not at the raid table, on the raid table. The World Unsundered, Ipsos, the Seventh Circle. Oh. Oh, jeez. Hemethios, Agdistus. Oh, jeez. Battle of Atlas. Uh-oh. I guess that's easy to understand. I am Agdistus. Yes, this is my vessel. And I've been granted new test objects. Wow, badass. So yeah, she's gonna strike the 2 areas in front of her. Which hand is it? That hand! Oh gosh! Oh wait, yeah, that's that. Youch! Perhaps you require more than heroics. Perhaps you require more room for your heroics. Copperhead. Oh gosh. Rip that warrior. Oh, the forbidden fruits. Stuck up with my Reaper buddy. Leave needs my research, or become. Should give you the ground on which to fight, but you must move swiftly. Ouch! Oh boy, it's been improved them. Oh. Oh, dang it. That's right. Oh, she's gonna strike in front of her. Spark the flag. And yeah, with how I've been doing, I'm probably the one doing the LB3. Interesting. Yeah, I understand why she's so bloody massive now. No, just man. Just Angie. Alright. I was about to say there's no headpieces here, but there is. And yeah, go past everything else. Now in instance 3 of Pandemonium. The moment Ecdistis was slain, the flow of ether and Pandemonium focused more keenly on this location, creating a tunnel of sorts through which we could quickly convey ourselves. It was almost as if we were ushered here. The space was created with care and concealed with powerful wards. Only a key ward would have been able to detect it, even then with great difficulty, ergo. If only I could restore Tartaros to order. But I am afraid this is the most I can manage with such power as remains to me. It has been too long, Master La Habrea. Likewise, keyword Ecdistis. I should not be surprised you were able to break free of Hephaestus' spells, even diminished as you were. 'Twas not an easy task, even with your aid. His curses dig into one's heart, creating a storm of emotions that's all too easy to become lost in. Only by chance did a fragment of myself remain, illuminating the path through the madness. Thus I am able to appear before you now, even while my body was powerless to resist Hephaestus' commands. Some small part of my logical mind stood alone in defiance. It even managed to speak to the outside world. The report, that was you! Doubtless you recognized my voice from the many times I called out to you. The hope that those pleas would not fall on deaf ears was all that kept me from succumbing to hopelessness. But I have a greater purpose here than simply saying my farewells. There's something you must know, that the tragedies of the past do not repeat in the present. Forgive me for what I am about to do, Master Lahabrea, but the story must be told. This is the only way to understand Hephaestus' fixation on Erechthonius. No longer can you hide your heart away. Hephaestus? No, the mask marks him as Lahabrea. Master Lahabrea had brought an end to Lady Athena's life and sealed away a part of his memories and emotions within Hephaestus. These are my recollections of the moments following. And you truly have no intention of revealing the truth to Erechthonius? My lesser half is now buried where none can find it. We would be wise to do the same with our memory of the day. Blood should not sway the spirit so, but Athena's teachings have warped the boy. I fear he would see our star burn to keep his mother safe. Erechthonius believes that he feels love, but he is shackled by dependence. He could not bear the truth. His dependence makes it all the more important to be open with him. He will seek answers about his mother's loss, which shall inevitably lead him to you. Are you willing to accept the blame for Athena's death? Are you willing to accept your son's hatred? If that is what comes to pass, then so be it. Better to be burdened with hatred than the knowledge that Athena thought his body and soul mere tools to be used and discarded. Even were I to tell him what his mother plotted, he would never seek reasons to believe that the true fault lies with me or with him. Should he merely hate me, he will remain unfettered by doubt, free to serve the star far from his parents' shadow. Erechthonius loved his mother more than life itself, and yet, what dreadful truth you've borne all this time. Such is Lahabrea's nature. Every action, every word a solution to life's great dilemmas, in none despair for his own. What I have revealed to you is but a small portion of a larger picture. I shall leave it to Lahabrea to paint the rest for you. And for Erechthonius, I hope. Thank you, Actistus. I always admired you, you know. What choice did I have when you sacrificed so much to guide our star to the heavens? Hephaestus has doubtless sensed that his final keyword has fallen. We should return to the surface before he moves to strike us here. If we are to face him, we must be prepared to bring our full strength to bear. Agnestis was ever a bold woman, even in her final moments, that she would unearth the secrets of my past for all to look upon. Still, full glad am I that she faced you as her last opponent. I could think of none more worthy to send her soul off to the other side. One final wish. The vision you saw told the story of far more eloquently than I ever could. Athena was consumed by her research and was willing to sacrifice her own child if it hastened her progress. She did not offer him a position here out of sense of love or pride. It was merely because she knew he would be the most pliable test subject. Pliable? Pliable. I see now why you hid the truth from him. I cannot say with certainty that Erichthonius could handle the weight of such betrayal after holding his mother on a pedestal for so long. Unfortunately, it seems not even her death was ensured his. It seems not even her death has ensured his safety. Hephaestus has taken up Athena's research and succeeded in creating Hemethoi. Hemethoi? Either way, I know not what his ultimate end is, but 'tis plain it is connected with the resurrection of Athena. That knowledge alone is sufficient to direct our next course of action. As for the rest of the story, we shall hear it after we've returned Erichthonius to safety in accordance with Agnestis' last wish. Very well. I can at least assure you that finding him shall prove relatively simple, now that Hephaestus can no longer bend pandemonium to his will. There is but one place left for him to find refuge, the Black Heart of Tartaros, where Athena built her testing compound. We can assume that Hephaestus will offer fierce resistance. I must focus my every effort in securing a safe means of approach. La Habrea, I would ask you to assume the duty of summoning Thorax Phantom Warriors. I have no objections. My ability to fight within Tartaros would be greatly diminished in any case. However, I wish to deal the final blow to Hephaestus myself. There's no need to dirty your hands with such a deed. I take it then you have no intent to seal him away as before? The presence I felt when I encountered Hephaestus bore too little resemblance to the entity I created. By his own hand, he has become something far more wicked. The same magics that once shackled him may very well shatter before the power he wields. On my pride as a researcher, I am loath to repeat the same mistake twice. I would not see these events play out again, and so he must be extinguished. Well then, I shall open the way forward. May we finish this together. Abyssos, the 8th circle unlocked. Or accessible, I should say. The end is in sight. Return to me safely, friend. At last, Hephaestus' wicked plan is laid bare. He aims to use Archthonius as a tool to resurrect Athena, former chief keyword of Pandemonium. Although his exact motivations remain shrouded in mystery, there is no time for doubt, for every idle moment allows Hephaestus to draw one step closer to completing its grand experiment. You hurry to the hidden experimental compound, that this chain of twisted ambition might be broken at last. Ooh, that was fast. You know what they say about chains, though. They're only as strong as their weakest link. Abyssus, the 8th circle. Archthonius?
Erechthonius is mine, heart and soul. And with your death, none stop me.
Oh. Whoa. Perfect imperfection. Hephaestus. Time for the big one. Oh, he is bigger.
Rest eternal in the dark depths of this prison.
He's a party of many reasons.
Out of my sight.
Oh.
Leave not but ash in your way.
Gotta do side to side.
And sweet sorrow into your heart.
Sudden flinch. Okay, Dragon is straight up the middle. Phoenix is down the sides. Flame Viper. I take it this is the given mechanic.
Behold the fruits of sacrifice.
He's a centaur.
You will know my rage.
Yeah, well, Rearing Rampage. That's Tank Weapon. That's Raid one. Okay.
Carry its great destinies. And sate your boundless hunger.
Let's do that blow up. Yes. Okay. Ouch. Oh?
Molten flame my servants rise.
Aww.
I shall see my wish fulfilled. You are afraid to be consumed.
That's a kill.
Sheer flesh from bone.
There's the dragon again.
A fitting death.
Alright, gotta do the Phoenix again as well. No, it's gonna be the Viper. Okay. Oh, the Viper is just a straightforward line from him. Okay.
Behold the fruits of sacrifice.
Centaur Man's again.
You will know my rage.
Did not drop inside. Oh wow.
Praying before the gods. Perish in flames and
Fourfold fires.
and shake your power.
Press down to go up.
Molten flame my
Rise of the Abyss. Pandemonium Abyssos completes. Nope, I'm not getting that. Yeah, I don't know what gear I'd want to have here yet, so I'm not gonna roll on anything. The chain of events that led to this moment began with my error. When out of mercy I confined you here, now I break it and leave no trace of you behind. This is not over. I see you will not go peacefully. Even a cast-off would uphold his pride, though such an impulse must speak to the overwhelming arrogance of my other half. The name of Vesta shall grow to eclipse yours. None shall remember the deeds of La Habrea once I fulfill Athena's ambition and bring Archdonius' dream to life. You speak as if you care a whit for the boy. Why then do you cower behind him? There's some desires which must not be realized. Athena would see the world destroyed if it meant she could find hers in the ruins. As for Archdonius, he knows not what his wish will beget, but truth which you have hidden from him. Do you truly believe a father's role is to deceive and manipulate? My wish? You would claim the name of Festus and call yourself his father, yet you bind his mind and body in dark chains. Your words and your pride ring hollow. Athena wanted her son by her side, and he desires to return there. What wickedness is there in mending a broken family? Athena cared not for Archdonius, beyond how he could serve her ends. You claim to be acting in his interest, but 'tis plain you are no different. As I ushered Athena to her end, I vowed that my sole mission in life would be to guide this star true. In service of that vow, I silenced the whispers of my heart. I could not nurture a son whilst an entire world looked to me for guidance. For that choice, I bear the responsibility. Yet he is still my son, and I will not suffer you to seduce him with false hope. You, who are naught but the bitter dregs of Athena and I, the very worst of us. Mother, no! Then who... how do I... Trust in La Habrea. I hear you. I owe you and Themis an apology. Athena, did you ever... In La Habrea, I'll have my say. How? His mind was mine. I can't explain. Thorax's words reach me through the haze. They rang loud and clear, as did the words of another, in a voice much like yours, but responding with truth. How? When did you master these bonds? Oh, we've entered much worse. You worthless... You... Ah! It appears my failures have borne fruit after all. You did well, son. With Hephaestus' essence contained in this crystal, we may safely return Arcthonius above. That he would bind Hephaestus with only half his senses intact. You quite understated his adeptness in the art of interment. It was hardly what I had in mind, but a feat deserving of praise nonetheless. Truly imperfect. I feel no trace of Hephaestus' poison in your mind. If for a blessing, it appears your body is none the worse for wear. I made my way here as soon as I could. I no longer sense Hephaestus, and the force assailing Pandemonium's barriers has ceased. Are you rid of him for good and all? I see. Despite his muddled senses, Arcthonius felt that to seal Hephaestus away was the proper course. He wasn't so noble as that. I only knew something had to be done, so I acted. La Habrea, was that how you dealt with Hephaestus in the past? Indeed, he was not but the parts of my memory and soul that I had cut away. A massive ether without a material vessel. Storing his essence within a crystal was the most logical choice. On that matter, I believe the time has come for you to share the rest of your tale, of Hephaestus' creation at Athena's end. I heard your words, but only vaguely. as if from under the surface of a deep pool. My mother wished to use me? I would hear the whole truth. I want to know what happened here and what drove Athena to act as she did. I'm ready. Athena's brilliance outshone us all. Even the other members of the Words of La Habrea were as children in comparison. So dedicated to research was she that it was not unheard of for her to forget meals or even sleep. Her mind was ever grasping for knowledge, and it was in this endless search that she became obsessed with uncovering secrets of life. You see, while we can conceive in various forms, the means of creating a soul are beyond our ken. Similarly, though we can enhance and alter our physical vessels, we have ever been bound to them. Athena's purpose was to shatter these limitations. Such limitations as we were not meant to surpass. She sought to enter the realm of the gods. Scarce few have the ability to comprehend what such a task entails, let alone the courage to attempt it. For most, the thought would be an idle fantasy, considered once and then discarded. Not so for Athena. As leader of the Words of La Habrea, I spoke with her often about transcending our being. From an academic perspective, the challenge has plagued countless researchers through the ages. It was during these musings that I began to formulate a theory, a means by which a person could meld with creation. The weaknesses of one would be mitigated by the strengths of the other, and the result could be something greater than we have ever imagined. Although it was but a theory, Athena insisted I develop it further. Curious about every detail along the way, our conversations became more frequent, and our platonic relationship grew into something more. I take it I was born not soon after. Just so. I believe she bore true affection for me and was blind to her hidden intentions. When Pandemonium was built and she requested to lead the researchers, I saw no reason to deny her. Even setting aside our relationship, her accomplishments as a scholar made her the obvious choice. However, in giving her Pandemonium, I also gave her free rein to conduct whatsoever experiments she could devise. And when you found out what she was doing, you killed her. I made haste to Pandemonium I heard the moment I learned of these hidden chambers. I left Ecdistus to keep watch from Tartarus's vestibule as I ventured deeper, knowing not what would await me. As for what occurred next, 'tis best to see with your own eyes. Is that me? You are well aware that out of respect for our neighbors in Opus, the researchers of Pandemonium are not to be masked. Yet you stand before me with your face covered. What petty defiance is this? What indeed? So quick you are to rebuke me, though you yourself have not set foot in these halls since their inception. You must have known you could not conceal this from myself and Agdistus forever. as you know that I cannot allow it to continue. I shall say this but once. Release Ericthonius, else I shall have no choice but to strike you down. I would meet my end at the hands of none other. However, ere my time has come, I will have you know the why of it. Then you will not desist. Once you understand what has driven me this far, you shall see that stopping was never an option. The feelings of one weigh little against the needs of the entire star. Of course, of that I am well aware. But you did not deign to descend from your lofty heights simply to lecture me as you would a child. You have an interest in my motivations, what possessed Athena, peerless researcher and mother of the son of the great La Habrea, to embark upon the path to her downfall. History will demand an answer, but it is you who deserves one. Give me your hand, La Habrea, and we shall know one another more deeply than ever before. Impossible. You bonded your souls? Aye. That the boundaries between us would cease to be. She offered me everything to be understood. I found myself unable to refuse. At that moment, my mind was a storm of questions, yet one roared the loudest. Did Athena ever truly love me? I am become the memory and mind. And I, thee. Can you feel it? My heart, all that I am. Yes, as if it were my own. A fathomless desire to dissect the mysteries of life, to transcend our mortal flesh and bleed into a higher plane of existence. An unquenchable thirst for knowledge, not a single thought spared for another, for the star. How disappointing. Yet, what is known cannot be unknown. You have beheld my life's work. Try as you might to excise the memory, the seed of desire remains, and when it takes root, you too shall be consumed by that self-same fervor. I will dig it out. I will dispense with the corruption in my soul ere your rotten insight spreads. Twas my weakness that let this wickedness fester, but never again. Today I cast aside fickle emotion, abide in duty alone. Today I renounce all that I was and live only as La Habrea. Thus did I forsake the part of myself that had been polluted by Athena, sealing it within a crystal. Never did I think I would one day face those memories made flesh. Forgive my bluntness, but your actions bordered on insanity. To go to such length to escape your memories, you nearly rewrote your very existence. Rest assured, the change did not go unnoticed by our colleagues in the convocation. Igiorm and Emmett Selk in particular made plain the suspicions they harbored. As well they should have. That you escaped with your life was nothing short of a miracle. Why didn't you destroy the crystal then and there? Did you think to one day make use of the knowledge it contained? I will not deny such considerations played into my decisions, but my main motivation was fear. I had never attempted such a feat before. The crystal was my sole recourse should something go awry with the remainder of my soul. In hindsight, clinging to it was a mistake born of doubts. Athena must have anticipated that I would resort to such measures and prepared a vessel beforehand that would accept the dregs of my soul. Hephaestus doubtless believed he was performing his duty as a husband and father should. Yet in truth, he was but a puppet being pulled to and fro by Athena's desires. His goal was not to raise himself high, he thought only of seeing his dear Athena live again, that she might finish what she began. Yet, for all of that, he and I were alike. We yet shared a fatal flaw, you see. Our need for control blinded us to other perspectives. While I was in thrall of Hephaestus, you called out to me. What say you now? Does La Habrea speak true? Yes, and now it's your turn to do so. I just want to know one thing. Did you truly believe that hiding the truth was best for me? Even knowing how I felt about my mother. The La Habrea I know had a fatal flaw, after all. I'm still not convinced. I have said all that I can say. Now it's for you to choose to believe me, or not. The La Habrea I know holds duty above all else. I would sooner prostrate myself before an erupting volcano than place my fickle emotions in his path. When you return to the surface, you'll doubtless don that mask once more. So before we climb out of this forsaken pit, I suppose I should say. Thank you, Hephaestus. I've heard enough. There is more I would yet discuss. But we should first return to Pandemonium's gates. I'll gather my thoughts on the way. surely there's more to... Sorry, there's more to this than this ending. It is Endwalker after all, I suppose. I owe you an apology, Thorak. It was due to my own inexperience that Hephaestus was easily able to take hold of my mind. I also owe you thanks. If you and Themis hadn't chosen to brave the chaos occurring in Pandemonium, then I would have never known Wahabrea's story, my father's story. 'Twas a tale I too was fascinated to hear. I very much look forward to speaking with Ezem upon my return. I cannot help but wonder how much of this he foresaw. I'm afraid I cannot allow that, Elidibus. So long as you retain control of Pandemonium, there is work to be done. But of course, I shall first free the remaining warders and restore this place to its former glory. Using the facilities in Tartaros, we should be able to reverse the changes made to their bodies and minds. I shall stay behind to oversee the process. That is well, but I must learn why I was considered to be the key to Hephaestus' experiments, and how he intended to revive Athena. Such questions are best left unanswered. In fact, I forbid the pursuit of that knowledge. The boundary between man and creation shall never be crossed. And I intend to destroy the crystal containing Hephaestus' essence, that this mistake never again repeats. I see no reason to gainsay your judgment. There's another matter of your crystal, however. Truth be told, I had not considered its origin until I saw the one containing Hephaestus' ether. I was struck by how wholly different they were. There's another? While imbuing a crystal with memories is a simple process, storing a message, a warning even, would be something altogether more complex. This also means that someone besides present company and Ezem was aware of the plot unfolding within Pandemonium. Then why would they not make themselves known? Even now, no threats remain. Perhaps it was one of the other warders. We shall question them after they are freed. That task may take some time, a resource I'd rather not steal from you. Return at your leisure. We shall share our results then. You've done more than enough for the time being. I am of the same mind. Leave the loose ends to us and continue upon your journey. Or, if you're so inclined, take much needed repose. This talk of journey smacks of Ezem. As well it should. He is pledged to keep moving until he has seen every corner of the world. If you do find yourself with a spare moment, you might bring that crystal of yours to Wahabrea. He may be able to offer further insight. Until then, my friend. There is more. That crystal might very well... Ew. I can speculate all I want, but for now I'm not gonna do much more. I have been going for almost 2.5 hours after Satisfactory. Jeez. Couple of decently long streams, I think. Well, decently long, couple hours. Regardless, we'll do this and then I'm gonna head out. Where's the node? Why, if it isn't Thorak? Excuse me if I'm not my usual chipper self, but we have not been without our difficulties in your absence. You see, communication with the airship Professor Claudian commissioned for a search was lost some time ago, and now we have quite lost track of where he might be. To make matters worse, Namjiji has sent word of an unusually large amount of energy coming from somewhere within the ethereal sea. I was just on my way to the Antioscope, in fact. Please, you must come with me. Well, what? Pandemonium? Here? What is that? Is it real? Why is it that whenever danger visits the world, you are never far behind? Oh. Fortunate. And you too. Professor Claudian's assistants, I take it. And you arrived before me. I take it you are involved in this? I would thank you to furnish me with an explanation. While the research summary you submitted to the forum gave us no cause for concern, these details are alarming. The professor's last message indicated he was on his way to Asylum, but we know not whether he ever reached his destination. A rash endeavor, even for Claudian. But he has ever allowed the thorough discovery to cloud his better judgment. We have no recourse but to entreat Ishgard's aid in searching for him. As for that unsightly fortress which materialized in the ethereal sea, Pandemonium was it? It cannot be left alone. For the time being, information regarding this matter must be strictly controlled as to minimize panic. We will gather those with knowledge of the ethereal sea and continue monitoring it for further irregularities. You two, submit a detailed report to the forum at once. At present, we have far more questions than answers. Nevertheless, I would ask for your assistance in such a time that our investigation has concluded. Very good. Now, if you will excuse me, I must apprise the forum of what has occurred here. Just when we need him the most, Professor Claudian remains unaccounted for. He even brought the crystal with him. We are left with scarce few straws to grasp at. While I am but a lowly assistant, even I can see that our two current problems are likely related. The same party or phenomenon may be responsible for both. Conversely, I see now that my unexperienced imagination failed to do Pandemonium's pitiless spires justice. I can only wonder if the facility itself traversed the ages. Did the creations within do the same? What of the keywords? But answers to these questions shall come in time, I'm sure. For now, I must do as Master Fortunel asked and write that report. As for you, Thorak, pray get what rest your responsibilities will allow. When next we call upon you, I wager we shall need you in prime condition. And yeah, that is everything. Well, almost everything. There's a few other things that I can go over, but that will have to wait until Tuesday at least. As the race to clear Abysso Savage begins. I shall see you all on Tuesday. I have been Okami Thorak Junut. I will see you all later. Have a good night.